No, we're trying to summon Mega Ultra Chicken.
Same thing.
Omicron chicken.
Omicron chicken. Chicken crud. They'll give KFC's idea. They'll release a gaming console.
Too late.
And welcome back to Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, man, I almost knackered that intro because I was trying to be clever. I'm like, no, you know what? Just stick with what works. It doesn't matter if it's 2021.
It is?
Shut up. I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing everything under Linux in our beautiful Penguin-powered studio. And this is, in fact, Jordan, Master of Onions, Svang in Toronto.
Master of Funyuns, sir.
The healthy option. Speaking of
We're
options.
Dunyan rings.
Dunyan. It's Dumyan. Dumyan, Pedro Dumyan ring. Mate, stayed up late. Past his bed.
Dum yum.
Dumyum. That's a hard one, isn't it? It's like, oh, man.
Yeah, tongue twister.
And all of you beautiful people at home, Shotrail Dynamic helping us form Cocaine Voltron. So, yeah. How are we enjoying our December 25th, 35th, 34th?
No, what did Alan say it was? It was like
34.
March 308th, 2020 or whatever.
It feels like it. You know, when you've been like, what, 8 months? The days?
Quarantine, yeah.
It just bleeds together. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is eventually going to get warmer.
I wish I could feel like that. I have actually had to go into the office and do work from there, so I didn't get that.
Oh, dude, everything feels like it either happened yesterday or like 60 years ago. There's no in between.
Dude, there's a little bit of true to that, isn't there? But
time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so.
Sweet, delicious lunchtime. What have you been up to, man? You've been doing some fun stuff. I know me and you, we partied on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we finished Streets of Rage 4. With throwing chairs up.
I think you expected to finish it too, because I think you called it before we got
into it. Well, it was like, we got way further than I thought we would the first time we went in, and I'm like, I think there's a real chance that we could put a bow on it. And it took us 90 minutes, but we did it. Yeah, I finally got a chance to try out the butter infuser that was bought for me on my wish list forever ago.
Okay.
Never got around to doing it.
What did you make with it?
I made brownies, tried and true. It works. It works pretty well.
Okay.
It requires a bit of setup, about an hour's worth of preparation ahead of time, and the instructions are fucking vague. We were talking about this in the pre-super shows, and I'm just like,
butter infuser? No.
Yeah, it's like, set the eye of the needle to like a third. You might find that setting it on medium works. So which one? Box. So as it turns out, just in case you're aware, the Herbal Maker butter infuser requires the oven to be set on medium for it to work in the time it tells you it will. So there you go. That's what I learned. Also, it does a pretty damn good job. It fucked me up.
How about you, Pedro?
Over here, nothing particularly interesting. I actually had previous week off, and I did a very good job of just letting my brain not think about anything, which may be very evident if you watch the Wednesday show. The one thing that I did do is I finished Dungeon Siege Throne of Agony for the PSP on the Pi-Boy DMG. So can confirm the PSP emulation on the Raspberry Pi 4 is amazing. So yeah, there's that.
There's that. That's the best you got.
No butter. Can it infuse butter in 20 minutes or less?
Right.
CPU gets up to like 60 C. Is that enough? I don't think so.
No.
Well, you know, this is like
not
to go back to what Jordan was saying. He was talking about, you know, like medium in the oven is like Canadian medium. What's that? Like 19 degrees?
Wow.
It's whatever medium is.
Yeah, medium.
It's when the knob is in the middle of the dial. What the fuck do you want from me?
Just get to the line of the instructions. Butterfield's like, numbers are construction by the man.
Man, yeah, pretty much.
So fight back against big number.
Right? That's all part of big numbers plans, man.
You gotta crunch the numbers.
Have you ever bought an accessory to something that pretty sure you're going to be able to get or you're going to buy, but it's like not immediate in the future.
Yes.
Like, okay, what was it?
Barbell shit. I have a bunch of collars and shit for barbells that I don't know.
Rack.
Yeah.
Pedro, anything along those lines?
Random like computer parts that will go into things at some point, but they're not in things right now.
Yeah, I felt like we were talking about the this like hipster card that I want to get for an interfacing Linux, and they have like breakout cables. I mean, monitor ports, as Pedro pointed out. You plug monitors in the back.
It's a 15-pin D-sub. As far as I'm concerned, that's a VGA port.
I like that Pedro looks. It's like, oh, that's clearly a sound card with dual VGA out. Yes.
No, it's VGA and serial.
15 and a 9-pin.
Completely ignored the two ADAT ports, but the breakout cables, because I'm going to get one of these used and get it for like $200 just for the card. But like the breakout cable itself is like $100 for a balanced one. Found one brand new on eBay just because I happen to be for like $25. Like I just got to buy that just in fucking case, right? Like if I do find one, I'm like, at least I have a worst case scenario. I can flip the cable. That's my story. Unlike the horse, which is unflippable.
The horse is unflippable, but it does get to the appropriate temperature to infuse butter. It only infuses it with horse, though. It's the steam!
Linux
update.
Here we go, kids. Hi, China. Steam hardware. Oh, Pedro, big
He's super echoey.
I know, Pedro. You're only allowed to do it for a short amount of time. You'll overload. We've been over this.
Wasn't my fault.
Multiple occasions.
I blame you anyways.
So first off, I guess before we even get into this, man, yesterday I got the once a year, sometimes biannually, elusive Steam hardware survey that pops up. I'm like, huh. Neither of you did.
No, I got a bunch of them earlier in the year.
Okay.
So.
And I think Arthurian in Discord was like, yo, I got one too, which is cool. And it's always weird.
Survey buddies.
They used to be like super rare, though. You get one like every 2 or 3 years, man. But back to the topic, man. So let's probably see what went down in December 2020. Steam maths. You know it, you love it. So what do we see? Linux is down, Windows 7 up. Mac is also down, but Windows 7 had quite a big jump, man. You know, out of nowhere. And I was looking at that, and where are we at currently on Linux? Linux is down 0.16.
Yep, it was down a bit more earlier. Something weird is going on with
they're definitely messing with the numbers, I think.
Well, coming from this post on our Linux, man, imagine using Linux. Interesting.
Linux. Yep.
So he was doing some statistics and some maths, and it's like, what you go crazy with the increase in Windows 7? When you get that many new, because look at this initially, Windows 7, an increase of 22.35%. Like, what happened?
Linux was down to not 57%. It's from 0.9. So that was a dip. That was a significant dip.
A little bit. But the thing with percentages is once you like start increasing the sample size, the percentages warp. And I think that's what this post is talking about. Like, hey, you know, Steam on China went live, and so this is where we're seeing all those Windows 7. You know, if it makes you feel better, odds are Microsoft did not receive a penny for any of those Windows 7s installs.
Not a one.
I sure hope they get some money so they continue being like one of the top contributors to the Linux kernel.
Well, yeah, they got to get all their shit running on Linux now,
right? Listen, man, Microsoft has GitHub repo or Git repos to scramble, so
yeah,
they're busy.
Yeah, don't shut down VS Code improperly. It will mess your Git.
What are you talking about? Alt F4 to pay respects. So yeah, I guess the other thing here is GPU wise, there hasn't been much of a change. The RX 480 is losing a bit of popularity. The 1060 is coming a bit back up, and apparently the 5700 XT is getting some traction in their Linux. Probably because you can still buy one I think that would be the that's my operating theory. And
That's a very good selling point. It's available.
Yes, you can, and it is a good card. I've been using one for the past couple months now, and I have nothing bad to say about it. So,
what is the worst card? AMD Radeon Pro 460. Oh.
bunch of fucking laptop cards. Oh, Max, 2070 with Max Q design. Yeah, these are all the laptop boys. And 5500 XT near the bottom, because people are like,
it's still bad. Yes.
Well, why can I buy that when I can get the 5600 or the 5700 and they're not much more expensive? And
or
just better cards.
If you can't afford the 56 or 5700 XTs, then you buy an RX 570 secondhand, which is amazing and it's pretty cheap.
It's kind of one of those just like very like. We're just not accustomed to like supply chain issues like this with electronics.
No.
You expect, maybe the first week, second week, maybe if it's like a super popular.
Like a month.
And by the end of that month, what you're talking about is you can just go to any store, anywhere, just casual and like, all right, I'm going to pick one up. Not with this, man. By the way, did you see the story earlier this week that, look, they found the shipping container with all of
that was fake. Yeah,
it was fake. Yeah.
Some Spanish website for the equivalent of April Fools that wrote an article. It's like, 500,000 RX 3000 series cards found in a container in South Korea.
The first Google News linked it to France 24. France 24 is where I first read it. So they got duped.
Yeah. I don't know. The other thing too is like for like a good 10 years now, we've kind of had like a nonstop stream of video cards. I don't know. It seems like the rate at which people are buying them is a little artificially increased as well, because they're like, minor performance jumps, but we have new branding and a new feature that maybe 2 games are actually using. So everyone just jump on the new video card train. I think now, especially under Linux, we're seeing a lot of the older mid-range cards still having like a much stronger life is indicative of the fact that like, people are finding better things to spend their money on too.
Yeah, the RX 480 is still the top on Linux. Go figure.
Yeah, I'm still going to throw my weight behind. You can't buy the new one, so
yeah, availability
that doesn't help.
Save your money. Buy something nice when you can actually.
That's right. No one buy it until I can get one. So yes. They're that.
All right, so there was a Steam client beta that came out on the 31st. So, and according to my date on my PC, the announcement for the new client beta actually came out on January the 1st. So there you go. 2 different years, the same exact problems. It does have some Linux specific stuff, like they're now discarding the old pipeline depots for if you have like Vulkan pre-caching downloads enabled. They're discarding the old ones to reduce the download size, and they're improving shader pre-caching behavior. When you remove a game, it shouldn't have to download the shaders because you're uninstalling the game, but you could tell that sometimes it was just taking that every time they change something in the matrix. It'd be nice if you give me a little pop-up, be like, yo, this is why like 1 core of your CPU is just going to be fucking off for the next half hour, by the way. Because it's like, what are you doing? 2H top Steam. I'm like, you're doing the shader thing. No feedback whatsoever. And I'm like, all right, fine, just do your thing.
Yeah. The other thing they fixed here is you can not accidentally start big picture mode when trying to shut off your controllers. Which
for the 7th time. That's like the 7th time that's been fixed.
Yeah.
Shut up, Pager, or they're going to disable support for more than 5 controllers again.
No. So what happens when you have more than 5 controllers and you're trying to shut them off all at the same time?
Man!
Send us some hate mail. Let's break this. Let's break this use case a little bit. I'm curious.
Is that how we open the portal, man? Do we need 5 controllers?
Yeah,
that's how we reach controller singularity.
Dude, no,
because you need an Xbox controller, a PlayStation controller, a Switch controller, a DualSense 5 or whatever, the Atari VCS controller, and an OG like Duke Xbox controller, but you got to shut them all off at the same time.
Fuck that noise. I am not trying to summon Captain Planet.
No, we're trying to summon Mega Ultra Chicken.
Same thing.
Omicron chicken.
Omicron chicken. Chicken cry. Go give KFC's idea. They'll release a gaming console.
Too late.
Damn it.
Well, they announced it. It hasn't been released.
McDonald's has the McRig coming out or whatever.
Dude, Pedro Mateus, any other company other than KFC, which is like, I can go back and think, remember when they used to make food? That's going to happen. KFC is going to deliver something because there's already like a 15-minute Lifetime movie of like falling in love. It's a Sanders romance film.
Right. Well,
it's literally
the
just
Colonel Sanders dating sim.
Keeps
right?
chicken warm. That it doesn't even cook the chicken. It just keeps it warm.
All right. Here's my 2021 prediction. The KFC console is going to be the Smock Zero, and that's where all the supply went to. KFC bottom out.
Vaporware. Okay, right.
That or the Atari VCS.
I think 2021.
Very chicken system.
I'm going to put money down and say 2021 is we're going to get complete radio silence from that team because they haven't said anything. It's been about 8 months. We're like, oh, pandemic. Oh, yeah, that thing that we said, with the shells. We can't do it right now because reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is Bart Simpson praying for the snow the day before the test. They're like, yes!
There was that one YouTuber that supposedly got it, and no.
Here's the big difference, though. Like, if a Smash is something like that, and you're like, oh, I need you to make me 2 or 3 one-off prototypes, you can make those. That's not necessarily an engineering feat. The engineering feat is mass producing a couple of 100 of them. Which I don't think that's ever going to happen. For
all those angry backers.
Well, I'm sure they got an Atari VC.
Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Yeah.
So talk to me about Monkey Plus.
No.
What?
Well, I can talk to you about the 9 Monkeys of Shaolin, and welcome back to the show. It's a game we talked about a couple of times. It's very much a brawler in the same sense of Streets of Rage, but it's a very different setting. Like Shaolin monk type of situation. Your character is not necessarily a Shaolin monk, but he may have been at some point in time. I haven't actually played it. But looking through the
what are you, David Carradine or some shit?
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I'm going to talk authoritatively about it. Listen to what I have to say.
I just read the Steam store page. That's about it. But yeah, they have a new update, and the big one is New Game Plus. And basically what you get to do is you get to keep all the progress, enemies get stronger, and when replaying, you get the improved versions of the weapons. You get the golden version, as they call it. Apparently someone pissed all over them.
Nope, the golden version.
But yeah, it is. New Game Plus is actually a very good thing, because if you made a game that people actually like, and, given that people are still being asked very much, Universes games, thank you for the follow, if people are being made to be at home, then you really do want to add more stuff to your game so that people keep on playing it and you keep getting money, because then word of mouth gets around.
The big one here is it has online co-op as well, so you just added a lot more stuff for people to do. And yeah, it's good to see that they're adding more content. Hey, Fedora 27, love to see it. But yeah, honestly, I think this does a better job at being like a beat 'em up. I wrote bet 'em up in the show notes because I'm
going to ask you a very serious question then.
It's better than Streets of Rage.
I'm going to make an assumption.
All right.
You haven't played the demo.
I have not played the demo. I watched no, but I did watch a playthrough of it.
Get back to me once you've tried the demo and you felt how it moves. And
all right,
yeah, that's all I'm saying, man. No judges.
Because I watched a bunch of fighting game players play it, and they seem to like it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of people the mechanics of it. But yeah, try the demo. It's a free demo. Yeah. Unfortunately, the demo is Windows only. If there was only a
some sort of compatibility layer,
get on
that.
some professionally produced one for a ton of games.
Yes,
we'll
call it Grape.
Grape upon.
I was going to call it grape drink.
Is that what you spread over your cheesy milkshake?
Yeah.
It is now. Fuck.
Number 3 with Grape Upon.
Maybe I can draw you a picture of it and draw and guess. So this is an early access game, and yeah, it's Pictionary, effectively drawing for 4 to 16 people. Oh man, that's a lot of people to get in one area you might save in. To which I'll retort: online co-op and online PvP. Man, it's currently $3.99, regularly $4.99. Maybe you want to play around with it. I think I do. Just I want to see what it's about and what we can get up to. It's relatively small, 512 megs. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it stacks up to Scriblio, because that's what we were doing on the Thursday stream to play Pictionary a while ago. And Scriblio's free. This one will set you back like $10 or whatever. It's 20%. 5, yeah. It's 20% off right now. So yeah, I don't know. More shit to play with your friends during the pandemic is good, right? I'm not going to complain about more online games. That's just like one of the big things is we're going to be talking about in just a second with having online multiplayer. It's no longer an option.
No, it is a hard requirement.
At this point, yes, Steam Remote Play Together is a thing, but how are you going to justify that?
Spoilers, Pedro.
For shame. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding. Get naked, Pedro, and walk through the streets. Shame.
Okay, fine.
Maybe we'll watch over you, just like we watch over Christmas.
Is that your Christmas wish?
No, it's my Hanukkah wish.
Okay.
So watch over Christmas. It's a point and click 2D adventure game. It's early access, and if you play it with an integrated graphics card, you may die, quote unquote.
Cool.
I mean,
does it make them catch on fire?
I don't know. Well, if you scroll down to the system requirements, SteamOS for Linux says OpenGL 2.0 compatible with 256 megs of RAM. Shared memory is not recommended, and that's on an IGP. I don't know why you don't want your point and click 2D adventure game to require
the clause does not. Mel Gibson does not suffer IGP use lightly.
Maybe not. Maybe you just need to pinch his nipples, and then he'll agree.
If you want those beautiful full HD hand drawn graphics, so you play as Cisco. I'm not kidding. CISCO. So you're apparently breaking into the pole to steal the fat man's networking gear.
I thought you were fighting Gul Dukat.
You can do both.
Either way, you're getting coal under the Christmas tree, so it's fine.
Fire photon torpedo. Man, I wish like midway through you just get into the Defines and blow up the North Pole. Come on,
dude.
game.
Let's just keep rolling, man. Like halfway through Wonder Woman 2, Galacticus falls out of the atmosphere. You're like, all right. All right, no, I'm
just disappointed because going by the art style, clearly Santa has not gone crazy and started killing the reindeer with a shotgun.
No.
Santa doesn't have a machine gun, unlike Savage Halloween, which has conditioned me to believe that Santa has a machine gun.
That's how Santa rolls, baby. Neon Wings. It's air racing. It is not bad looking. It's kind of pretty. And so much so, it's early access. I wouldn't pick it up. It's $3.99, and it's like, what was it? F-Zero, these types of racing type games,
This
like
one's supposed to be like Pod Racer.
Yeah, but this is the same vein of just the slide around pickup things and, 11 awesome levels, man. It's inspired by pod racing games like Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And
the one thing to come out of Star Wars Episode 1 that was decent. Yeah.
Yep. Here's a dig. A not well-known game called Ballistics, which was available on Linux.
Ballistic NG, yes.
Yeah. I played around with it for a few hot minutes. If I'm going to be nice about this, man, at this point, it's kind of a tech demo plus stage of development. And that's what you can expect for your £4. But, it launches, the controls work out of the box, it's Unity joint. So there's that. The movement is like, it's jerky and just like the movement. You don't physics be damned at this point in development. You're just more of a thing that floats that you can move and you can kind of get that little bit of jerk. There's no physics yet.
I was looking at the trailer. I looked at the trailer and it's like, can you relax the camera a little bit? Then Ven was saying, no, that's a thing that happens in game.
Well, here's to my point. You can change the camera. There's like a relax mode for the camera, but that doesn't fix the
The herky-jerky of the ship, yeah.
So it does have a demo, but if you scroll down, they're like, we're investigating the possibility of online multiplayer. So I guess I'm investigating the possibility of giving this game a recommendation.
You gotta look at this, man. In 2021, as we were just saying before, Pedro just spoiled the hell out of everything. Yep.
Spoilers.
Jeez, Pedro.
Spoiled tastes.
If you're working on a game right now or you have one in the planning phases, or if you currently have one in early access, multiplayer if you're gonna have co-op, you need to do it online. It's do or die. There's no fucking try on this anymore. And do not for a second try to sell people on Steam Remote Play as your crutch.
Yeah. Not acceptable.
No. That's more of a gimmick than it is a service. You're like, hey, that kind of works. Okay.
It's good enough for simple games that don't require that much in the way of interaction. But if you're like doing a Death Road to Canada, if you're doing like any sort of game that requires two players to cooperate, must be online. Yeah, I'm with Ben on this.
The added delay from remote play together is noticeable. Yes, you will eventually get around to it to actually delay or try to predict what's going to happen to try and make up for that, but it is noticeable. So even the budget version of the online co-op thing that you can buy off of the Unity store is better than that when it comes to delay. So
think about this. If you are a game developer, people are trapped in their homes. Look at games like Among Us. Look at games like Fall Guys. Very, very simple games. Very, very popular because you can play them with your friends online. They blew up out of nowhere.
You know, as that developer, I'm going to play that role. I'm like, oh, and just like that, my game's not going to be on Linux either.
Yeah, easy anti-cheat. Get fucked.
All right, speaking of getting fucked.
Speaking of getting fucked, coming up next, Nvidia is gonna fuck your memory holes with 12 gigabytes of...
They're gonna piss some people off. So
there. Also, you can run Linux on your N64 now.
Oh, shit.
I wanted to do a rendition of We Are the Children, but with We Are Record. If that doesn't make any sense to you, you should totally come and watch one of the live shows sometime.
That's exactly,
it will make sense to you.
What I would expect the Honey Vodka to say.
Honey Vodka don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no. But no, this is the news, the regular Linuxy sort of gaming related news. But before we get to that, we do need to thank you, everyone watching, because you're all crazy, clearly.
You're all our honeys, and if you want to sweeten our pot,
want to be our honey badger, not give a damn,
not give a fuck about us. Then
you want to give everyone rabies.
So hold on. I guess if you want to be a honey badger and not give a fuck about us, you shouldn't head over to patreon.com/LinuxGamecast to support us. Where you can and then you wouldn't get such benefits as access to our Discord channel or the
Honey Badger's
super
Gone
shows.
Wild, yes.
Honey Badger's Gone Wild, the Discord channel. So that's our OnlyFans. Honey Badger's Gone Wild. Subscribe to that.
Well, you do manage it, so okay.
Listen, we just coke up a few honey badgers, saw some in the room with Pedro. It's great. It writes itself.
We don't tell Ven what the honey badgers actually are. We just call them honey badgers. But anyways, patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. It's good stuff. You get access to the pre super shows, and you get access to the show notes. You get access to the Discord. There's lots of stuff you get. You get access to early versions of Interfacing Linux, the top secret documentation stuff that Ven is working on.
Well, that's like next level stuff. That just shows like in the Discord announcement section. Yeah, you get like you get things like, okay, Jordan, I'm going to spend 30 minutes and walk you through a door and how to set up compressors and stuff like that. Yeah,
I mean, if you're interested in that stuff, that's what it's there for. Yeah. We got a store, store.linuxgamecast.com. You can buy some t-shirts, you can buy some masks, no fanny packs, but you can get coffee mugs and stickers. We got Amazon. We got an Amazon store where you can see what we've sort of combined into the studio stuff, the hardware wise at least.
All the stuff that we use, all three of us, man.
Yes,
it's all there.
Yes, it's true. We got wish lists. If you buy Ven stuff off his studio wish list, you get to become a blinky name on the galaxy behind him. And if you buy,
I would say fadey name.
Fadey name is the ink starting to go? Those
no,
markers?
I don't put blink on. That's too annoying.
Well, like the monitor reflecting is the blink, right? Like I think that's
it's the glare.
Bitch, I can make it blink.
And that's how we triggered a bunch of epileptic fits. We gotta thank all of you for supporting us and sticking with us. It's been a rough year. A lot of people may not have the most amount of disposable income that they usually have. So I'm glad that any of you who are supporting us are supporting us. It does.
You're like, hey, we like what
times
you
are
do.
tough. Yeah.
And I know Money Penguin thanks you sincerely.
Yes. Where do you think he gets all that cash from?
I
throws around.
See, I've had these horrible discussions with myself, like Blinky stuff. I've been at the thrift store holding the disco ball, going, "No."
just like walking back to your car. No, then stop it. Hooking it up. No, stop it, Ben.
And that's why Turbojet has a disco ball. But
that was the compromise.
Yeah,
that was the comp. How much RAM does that disco ball have, though?
Oh, 12 gigajoules, man, because Gigabyte has confirmed the GeForce RTX 3080 Ti 20 gig, and what's got me a little more interested, the 3060 12 gigabyte through EEC. They had to file this, and
fuck,
what?
I forgot to thank Foxy for sending us Sonic All Stars. God damn it!
Thank you, Foxy.
Thank you, Foxy.
Thank him harder.
Thank you so much, Foxy, for making me dig for a config file to set windowed mode.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Now back to the business, man. So where are we at with this, man? More cards that you will not be able to buy in 2021. And this is going to confuse the absolute shit, myself included, out of people. Because should you get the 3070 8 gig or the 3060 Ti 12 gig? Wait a minute. Pedro, you can't get a Ti because only the regular 3060 has
3060 apparently will have 12 gigabytes of RAM, while the 3060 Ti, the one that supposedly already exists, only has 8. God damn it, Nvidia.
Well, so
fuck's sake.
So hold on. We should take a step back. So this is from videocards.com. Links to all this stuff is in the show notes. Now, this is from Gigabyte. This is Gigabyte's card lineup. So there may in fact be 3060 Ti's, 3070 Ti's with 12 gigs of RAM or whatever. This is just what this is the SKUs that they're listing. What is this on the Eastern European market? Russia, I believe.
Sure.
European Economic Market, so
Eurasian Economic Commission, so yeah, Eurasia.
What about the 6900 XT?
6900 XT, it's all 16 gigs.
That one
16.
again supposedly also exists.
Well, yeah, I mean that's this is why competition's good. First off, I know a lot of people are like, well, they just have to like come up with all these names just in case. They don't do that with fucking memory. Okay.
No. Once you have the actual SKU, you know exactly how many memory channels you have to address and what your memory is going to be.
No, I noticed that because in their article they're like, oh yeah, they got the gaming edition, they got the Eagle edition, and they got the Turbo edition, and they're ripping off our shtick, or at least Street Fighter's shtick, because we're ripping off Street Fighter.
Where does all of this nonsense fall into the money bracket? Because the 3060 8 gig is currently $399. I went to Nvidia, I went to your website, and you're like, hey, it's available at Best Buy. Oh, yay, great. Click available. Oh, it's out of stock. Of course it is. So we got the $399 regular 3060 8 gig. Then we got the 3070 8 gig at $499. So that 12 gig 3060 is going to be under $499 question mark?
I mean, if we're going by the usual naming scheme, then the 3060 would be below the 3060 Ti, but it has more memory. And it's probably going to have the exact same GPU. God damn it, Nvidia!
I'm just laughing because that's cute. You think you're going to be able to pay MSRP for these cards? No, they're going to get bought out and scalped. So
that is the reality of the time we live in.
But you know, it is cool to see 12 gigabyte cards enter the mid range. That speaks well for the future.
Back to what I was originally saying was, this is where competition comes in. Now, granted, competition's great when you can't fucking buy the product, and we were talking about it in the pre-super shows, and we've not, like, personally, I know I haven't experienced scarcity like this in the electronics market. in recent memory, I can say, because, you know, new release
Hard
comes
drives.
out. Hard drive. Well, we got to think 8 months because they're 3 months later after launch, 4 months, and no chance unless you just get like a lotto pick. You get your ass in line on Newegg that day and hammer that.
Right,
maybe
hammer the refresh button.
You got to beat the bot by like a hair of a millisecond.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about just like, oh yeah, I want one. Like I bought the 3060 on launch day. That is in a render box. It's
2060.
Whatever. You know what I fucking meant, Pedro. Jesus, calm down.
I'm just getting ahead of the comments.
Looks like Ben needs some more tensor cores.
Shh. But I was able to buy that on launch day, and I got up early, but I didn't get up like at 3 a.m. I came in and like, oh, okay, I got one. Came like 4 days later.
Then again, the 20 series wasn't exactly, you know, very well received.
Shut up. But Pedro, you be damned, man. This is first come, first serve, because if I can get a 3060 12 gig.
If, again, like I said on Discord, if this is going to be like a 2060 v 2060 Super situation, and the TI is better for gaming, but it has less memory, that's cool. I'll get the TI. That's fine.
Pedro's going to buy whichever's cheapest, and well, Pedro's going to consider buying whichever.
Anything that's below 400 pounds, that's like my hard cutoff. And fuck this particular generation for making that the baseline,
okay,
apparently.
Okay. What's your floppy limp cutoff?
200.
200?
I'm not entirely sure what that means. I'm just gonna go with half.
I mean, I thought that was just how much it's gonna take to like pay you to cut your penis off. 200 is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Oh, 200 million then.
No, 200 pounds. No.
200 pounds
million pounds, yes.
Not 200 Canadian.
200 Canadian pounds, yeah.
Yes. N64 bootloaders.
Yeah. So this is neat. You know, you can run Linux on everything from, you know, supercomputers to dead badgers, and now you can run Linux on the Nintendo 64. It only has native drivers, no EverDriver N64 specials. But yeah, you also need the expansion pack. You can't quite squeeze the kernel into 4 megabytes of RAM. You could probably barely squeeze it into about 8 megabytes. But yeah, right now they just have it working. They have like a BusyBox Musel build, so you can get a shell going and start trying to build things. And I don't know. This is a cool project, right? Like let's get Linux running on it. Why not?
Okay, what I really liked about his initial post to Lord Kernel, when he made the announcement, I was like, hey, I'm submitting this for inclusion. It's like, reasons, because I can.
That's a good reason.
So, yeah. But back to like the memory thing, because I started doing some research with like, because there was the 8 meg expansion card, right? And that came with like Donkey Kong or something like that.
Yeah, Donkey Kong 64. And
people have hacked the Jesus out of those things, and they got them up to like 32 megs.
Jesus. Yeah. So okay. So you have room to play NetHack. Excellent.
Yes. You can play 2 NetHack.
Excellent.
2 is probably going to be a bit of a stretch.
Pedro, I will have you know, I was booting into X on 16 megs of RAM.
Yeah, 16 is one thing. 8.
You could do it on 8. Absolutely.
It's a little tight, but yeah.
A little.
Okay, let me be honest with you. Children, you could do it on 4.
Not with kernel. What was it? 510.
Who's the
plus his branch?
Listen, man.
With muzzle, EV test, and BusyBox, because you gotta have at least keyboard support.
It'll be interesting to see what people come up with for this.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see, like, now that you can get something on it, what the homebrew scene is going to look like it. I mean, but it could be worse. You could be out of money and looking to write a Nintendo Switch emulator.
This is true.
Yes. So, Ryujinx, I don't know. I want to pronounce it like Nginx, but I'm sure that's not how it's actually pronounced.
I think that one is very much Ryujinx.
Ryujinx, not Ryujinx. I don't know. So they have a little blog post. They're talking about some of the stuff that they accomplished and what they plan to get done in 2021. But in order to do that, they need money because code doesn't come cheap. You gotta, house yourself and eat food and, fuel your brain. So they thought to themselves, what's the best way to do it? The backer rewards for their Patreon are not, the most well developed. So they thought, well, let's appeal to our Patreons. Let's see what we can give them. And in this case here, it is, if you give us more money, you get priority support, which, if it works for Red Hat, it might work for you. But yeah, like it's a problem, right? That all open source projects have where, securing funding to be able to actually devote the time to develop the software. And like they're saying, like, if we can get to goals, like we'll start working on the Vulkan backend and other things. What else? I just hit the close button on the tab.
How dare.
Yeah. But yeah, Vulkan backend, Amiibo emulation, et cetera, et cetera. They're looking at like implementing these features, but again, they need the money to do that. So
And it's always good. This is the other Yuzu. It's the alternative to that. And having two projects is always good. And setting up the goals for 2021, that's good. And just doing the basic reorganization of their Patreon rewards, that's always good hygiene, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you're an open source project that can't really get funding because you're working in some questionably gray area things like emulators, going to Patreon is probably a very good way to secure that recurring funding that you can actually count on and see, okay, this month we're going to get this much, so this is what we can do. Mm-hmm. That's great. And I hope a lot more projects actually get to that, because that's a great way to get funding.
Speaking of, there's a little dig at Yuzu in the blog post. They're like, we're not going to lock any features behind a Patreon wall.
A paywall.
So, good for them. I wish them the best of luck. Make Switch run on Linux.
Well, you got that. But we do have the results for the Game Off. Wait, hang on. Game Off 2020.
Eek.
Shut up.
Yes, the Game Off 2020, which was an itch.io game jam type of situation.
500 entries.
Hosted also by GitHub.
The theme this time around was Moonshot. And of course, a lot of people decided to take it very literally, like the one that ended up winning, which was a trip to the moon, which was based on the...
How far do I have to scroll before I see Ignic Norton?
I don't know.
Sky junk.
But yeah, it's the one that won, and deservedly so, because it does actually look amazing. It's based on not based. It's inspired by Un Voyage dans la Lune, the old animation movie, French animation movie, and it looks amazing.
I like that.
It's very well done.
It's not with GHTY, so it's not kinky cosmonauts.
Don't care. It's still cosmonautic. Look, it's Baba Go Moon.
Baba is Moon. Oh, fucking speaking of, the Stand series started. Completely unrelated, but...
Yeah, I've intentionally been dodging that one.
Right. I don't know if it's good or not. I'm nervous.
I don't know where I'm at. I'm just not in a standy kind of mood. It's like a little too real right now.
Yeah, a little bit. They did not anticipate that. Like, there's an actual pandemic midway through pre-production, huh?
Mm-hmm. There's that.
Anyways, so congrats to Namra Game Dev. They're the guy they're the person who won the Game Jam. They got first in a lot of the categories. One thing I was interesting to see though is, like, as you go down, like a lot of the lower placing ones actually placed pretty high in some of the categories. Mm-hmm. So it's
like there were a few that made some interesting, like, innovative game mechanics. So yeah. That's very nice. That's why I like game jams. They have to focus on that one mechanic or that one thing that they really want to do.
Gotta strip it down.
Yeah. It's like the core gameplay experience. It's good.
Indeed. So, something we talked about, and it's been a minute, a couple of months back, was like Would it be fair to call it MMORPG, multimedia online role-playing game? But voxel, you can play it online.
Probably drop one of the M's because it's not massively. It's a multiplayer online RPG. Yes,
it's a morgue.
Well, I was going for maliciously multiplayer, but hey, man, whatever floats your cheeks out. Steam update of the week. This week,
it's the horse.
100
I called
updates,
it.
man. They've been doing this, man. It's a solid little voxel RPG, pixel pig murder sim, and that's basically all I did when I played it the first time. But they're just going through, all the updates that have taken place over the year, and that's something you don't typically see. You might get, some projects release an update and they'll stay good, and then they'll just fall off. Then maybe they'll come back with like, oh, here's our big update each and every month. They're only out. This one, I was kind of interested to see because let me see if I can get down to it. They've done a lot of work with the Zelda mechanic, the glider physics.
Yeah.
So you too can float like a leaf and something fly, whatever.
Float like a rock.
Yeah.
I mean,
a really small rock.
Look at it though. I mean, I want to go fuck around in that right now. Like,
well, that was the big appeal with Breath of the Wild. Is like you can just bypass large swaths of walking because you got a hang glider.
Right.
And yeah. And so, in addition to all the glider physics, there's lots of modeling stuff. There's a little post in here about some of the combat logic and how certain types of multi-attack enemies might work, which is kind of neat. Yeah, and what's also cool about this update is they have the people who are actually working on the code and working on stuff providing the update themselves, so you can see a little window into their thought process. And it's good to see open source projects have this sort of communication because it's also a jumping on point for new developers. They can see like, oh, well, you're working on these things. This is a thing that interests me. Maybe I can help out.
One of the things I saw them, they were using just OpenGL for the backend, and they've rolled that over to WGPU. Which is going to give them the option to use things like Vulkan. So I think that is, yes, very interesting. And of course, they're like, we're still pushing out updates to the server. Be aware of that. It will spite nope on you, but that's just how it rolls. I'd say go try it out. All this is going to be in our show notes. I ran it on Debian 10, ran fine, launched up. I'm like, hey, and Pedro's like, oh, let me tell you about my scroll wheel.
No, to be fair, I just logged in again and I waited for the updates. They do have a launcher and it does a very good job of keeping the game up to date. And yes, to your point, Mr. Alert, it is written in Rust. But the one thing I noticed in the game originally is because I went out and I looked around town and I went out and I killed some stuff. And then I started scrolling back. It's like, oh, the game lets you scroll back a lot. I did the Logitech clicky thing, scrolled all the way back. Oh, I can see the whole game map now. So, yeah.
If you're worried about distro, it runs in a flat pag. It has a snap as well if you're running the Ubuntu's. So, yeah. And it'll keep your game up to date.
Right on.
Yes.
So what's the difference between a dirty DOSBox and a pristine DOSBox?
One is a little more liquidy. It's pureed.
Yes, and the other one you don't have to buy toilet paper for. This, on the other hand, is none of those things. This is DOSBox Pure. It is a fork of DOSBox, as you may know it, with the sole intent of being used in RetroArch or libretro. So if you have, say, a Raspberry Pi or any kind of box that just runs RetroArch, RetroPie, or Laka, then yeah, you basically you had the chance to run DOS games using DOSBox by itself, but you probably noticed that the integration wasn't great. This basically aims to fix that. It exposes everything that DOSBox can do so that you can manage it from inside RetroArch, which is amazing. It's finally a proper DOS core
on-screen keyboard.
Yep, because this is DOS, so you're going to need to access the keyboard at some point.
I mean, you might be playing this. You might be running this on an Android tablet too. You might need a software keyboard. Yeah, and like other stuff is present just to like make it integrate easier with RetroArch. Like the controller support, the gamepad support. They have some sound patches. They added zip file support to DOS box as well, so you can have like entirely zipped CDs, and it will handle all of that stuff for you. Again,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's ease of use stuff. It's exactly what a project like this needs to be, because DOSBox is kind of in a bit of a janky state. That's why there's like 5 forks of it so far. Everyone's like, oh yeah, we gotta port it over to SDL2. We gotta integrate it with RetroArch. Blah blah blah.
I'm going to rewrite it in Rust.
I mean, go ahead, do it. Do it safe, maybe.
You probably could, yes.
Yeah. I look forward to your project next week. But one of the things that kind of surprised me, man, the build dependencies for this monster, though.
Yep. You are emulating an entire operating system, so there's that.
See, sometimes I like to check if Pedro's read the notes. All you need C++, that's it. There's no dependency requirements.
I didn't scroll down that far. Nah.
So there you go. It's been 8 years. Are you expecting Pedro to actually read things?
I'm a man of infinite hope and faith. Merriment and wonderment.
I just clicked to download the release.
It's
and noticed there wasn't any, so.
All right, coming up next, we're going to punch, we're going to kick, and we're going to get really, really, really angry at some roads. We're throwing chairs at Streets of Rage 4.
Rocky Roads.
Welcome back to hashtag Snap City. We're throwing chairs at Streets of Rage 4. Developed by .emu, yeah. .emo, Guard Crush, and Lizard Cube. Developed on FNA from our boy Ethan Lee. Flippity jibbity boopity boop. You can pick it up for about $25.
Got his name in the credits.
Yeah, he did. It's 30% off now until January 5th, so grab it while you can. What is it? Amongst the best beat-em-up series ever created, jammin' 90s beats and over-the-top street fighting. The iconic series of Streets of Rage comes back with a masterful tribute to and revitalization of the classic action fans adore. Ben and I bought copies when this came out because we're like, oh, we finished Youngblood. Let's do something else.
We celebrated beating that atrocious fucking game by like, you know what? Yeah, we got 30 minutes. Let's do this.
Let's do some. And so I guess let's get into it. How'd it run on the Debians?
Okay, man. Over here on, I guess I should say Debian testing or Debian Bullseye currently right now because that's what I'm tracking.
Debian Ballsy?
Ballsy, bitch. That's what I said. Did I stutter? I think not. So, right out of the box, man, what am I running this on? 1920X Threadripper, 32 gigs RAM, NVMe drive, and little baby 2060. It's going to launch right out of the box. No issues, man. It's OpenGL, held stable, no problems with that. I did get a spite crash when I was playing it on stream using the experimental Vulkan render, but hey, man, salt to taste on that. Controllers, no problem. Picked right up, worked out of the box. I will dig in it a little bit because it does launch in this little mice type window. Now, granted, I got a 43-inch monitor, but still, I would like to be able to set that to something, like 1080, 720, something, but nay. If you're going to play it windowed and you want to resize it, your resolution options are only limited by your imagination, wherever you want to drag it, what makes it a pain in the ass to get lined up in OBS. Now, online multiplayer, didn't have a problem with that. Athens in Canada, we made sex several times, low latency. No problems, no dropouts. Good times. Now let's just talk about the fun, man, because it took me about 6 hours to vin my way through this, man, and multiplayer too. Just powering through. We weren't trying to get any special anything, man.
High scores or anything.
Yeah. So at its current price, man, this was like $24.99. That breaks down to about $4.16 an hour per entertainment. You know what? That's not bad. I mean, if you're like me, it could be a little bit on the low side, man, because games like this, after I beat them, I'm done with them. I'll probably never play it again. But let's talk about what it is. You should know what it is if you're a certain vintage or if you're a hipster. We love our hipsters. It's mindless beat 'em up. Optional skill requirements if you want to get a rank higher than C. Couldn't be ours. We got a B on the last one, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Second last one.
Pure skill. No accidents involved. You punch, jump kick, special your way through like a dozen or so levels, man. You unlock some regular like hipster characters like I did, which made it impossible to play. You think that would be cool? And it did look cool visually. But getting that lined up in game, that was a little difficult. You fight the occasional boss, man. You curse loudly every time the knife guy just runs across and just jacks your ass up because that's like insta-touch. You're like, fuck. I don't think I'm alone. I wasn't originally a fan of the new art style. I wanted something more pixely, some more hipstery, but it grew on me. It did. I like it now. I'm down with it. And let's get the beep boop tunes, man. The retro inspired music is humming along in the background, and it ranges from like not bad to just a little bit of all right. So I'm good with that. All in all, it's faithful to the original Streets of Rage 2, and that's what everybody's thinking about on the Mega Drive. Does a good job capturing the fun parts. I do believe it does, but I really want you to keep in mind that it's a short game for the price. Unless you're the type that's like, I'm going to get this figured out, I'm going to get it all high scores, and there's no telling, man. Hours of fun to be had. But I'm going to give it a solid 3 shares. I'm going to say check it out. And it does go on sale like it currently is at 30% off. So $17.49. If you got some friends to play it with, I think we did determine that, and you can only do 2-player co-op. So
yeah, and I'll get to it in my thing.
And
the
you can't play as the
multiplayer is kind of
kangaroo.
no, the not in this one. In 3 you can.
All right, who's next?
Yeah, I guess I'm next, because over here on the Ryzen 7 3700X with the GTX 1080 running KD Neon, it launched out of the box. VSync is a bag of lies because it just locks the FERPs to 60. That's it. It doesn't do 144, despite every other game that supports 144 actually gets it, and this one just locked at 60. All right, then. I also remembered why, back in the early days, I got annoyed while playing this game. It's the constant, hi-yas, yeah, it starts to grate my eardrums after a bit. And but the DualSense actually worked out of the box. No input needed, no Steam input needed.
No input.
Just
magic.
Yeah. You just looked at it and it did the
You
things.
just think, and
But,
the game gets a
yeah.
high score.
But yeah, no actual Steam input required, which was very nice to see. So yeah, that as far as FNA and SDL is concerned, that is very much up to snuff. You can also go to the options and select which button labels you get, be them, PlayStation, Xbox, or Switch. So that's actually pretty nice. As for the fun, well, there's really no way to kill the aforementioned voice acting without also killing the rest of the sound effects, which is a pretty big letdown, at least for me. But if I just focus on what's happening in the visuals and let just the audio meld into background noise and I don't pay it any attention, yeah, it's actually a pretty fun game. It's hard, especially if you're playing it alone, like you just saw me get my ass kicked right there. I do manage to get it on the second time through. From what I could tell, you get the same amount of regular enemies throughout most of the level. It isn't until the bosses and the mini-bosses that the difficulty seems to scale up, because the mini-bosses, instead of getting the 1, if you're playing multiplayer, you get 2. And during the bosses, the extra dudes that show up besides the boss, yeah, those also increase in number in multiplayer. But throughout most of the level, it seems to be pretty much on par. And on level 7 or level 6, I don't remember which one, when they introduced the Muay Thai or the karate fighters, that took me a few continues to actually get through. So it gets really, really difficult, but it is a very fun brawler, and it's Linux native, which you don't see a lot of nowadays. But yeah, I'd very much like the option to tell the characters to shtifu. Not even going to complain about the 144 hertz, because that's okay. I can deal with 60. But yeah, let me just mute the voices of the characters, please. 3 chairs.
Yeah, so on Fedora 3264-bit with the R9 3900X GTX 1080 Ti, that crusty card. Yeah, FNA, baby, shit just works out of the box. The resolutions, they're full screen or whatever you can drag the window to be. Luckily, XFCE has that handy little snap to corner feature. Makes it a reasonable 1080p window. It's good enough.
If you want to see fun mode, accidentally open it on your portrait. That was entertaining. Yeah.
Oh boy. So I like the soundtrack. The swingy, jazzy crap reminds me of like character select screens from like Street Fighter and other arcade fighting games, which is good. That's what it's meant to be. The controls work, but the controls themselves, we'll get to that. They replicate what was there originally for better or for worse. I would argue for worse, but that's just me. So fun-wise, honestly, I think like if I didn't play this with, then I would give this a much lower score than I did. I'm not really the biggest biggest fan of these 2D style beat 'em ups, especially because this game, the main difficulty of this game is finding the exact plane that you need to stand on so you can hit the fucker that you're trying to hit. Because sometimes you just punch and you're like, I thought I was on that level. Nope, you are not. You missed. And yeah, you don't really get much in the way. Like, you got your standard 5 attack combo. You can cancel in at any point into your super attack that eats up a little bit of your health that you can recover if you're good enough. You got your star chips if you want to like have your super attack, but if you're like me, you're saving those for the boss because you can need them for the boss. And yeah, if you want to get good TM, you're gonna have to work at finishing each level with as much health and money as you can to get those ANS rankings, because they got those little Shovel Knight hourglass things on the score meter. You're like, oh, am I gonna make it to the good ending? We made it to an ending, and that's about all I can really care for. What mysteries lie beyond? Maybe some more 2D characters. I don't know. I'm not motivated enough to find out. And like that's really the thing. If you are a big fan of Streets of Rage or Final Fight or any of these sorts of games, and you're looking for just like a prettier version of what you played before, this game is probably going to do you great. There's a lot of replayability in terms of like the different characters. They have achievements, they have unlockables, all sorts of high scores you can look for. But like, if you like modern beat 'em ups, you want something a little bit more. I don't want to say this game lacks depth, because it's definitely there. If you watch like the tutorial videos, they're like, oh yeah, this is how you like guarantee juggles. But like, it's pretty basic. I would have liked to be able to use more buttons on my controller, but that's just me. I'll give it 2 chairs. It's all right.
Whoop. You say 2?
2.
Boo. You monster.
Boo.
You monster.
Oh no. Dissenting opinion on Linux Gamecast?
You gotta think about it, man. Like the original game, I was thinking about that when we were talking, just then. And, we had 3 buttons to fuck with.
Exactly.
Yep. A, B, and C. So that's kind of where it's at with this, man. Minus like your shoulders.
But I do get Jordan's point about you have to be like a pixel or 2 off of the same plane in order to just make contact with the enemies, and that gets real annoying real quickly on some levels.
You can see me suffer hard for this on the Thursday stream as I just punch air repeatedly.
Like Pagers do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like perfect point right there.
All right.
It's like I'm pressing up or down, hoping that my character will move, but no, it's already registered the input to do the attack, so it's doing the attack. Fuck.
The other thing that this game really, really does to discourage button mashing is it will lock you in those attack cycles.
Yep.
Because it's really like, oh, you got a time when you hit the buttons, but it's like, that's all I can do. This is my only bit of agency.
It forces you to do crowd control. Correct.
Yes.
Or you will get dead.
It does. It is very old school in its design, which is a pro for some people and a con for other people. It really depends on what your taste is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Coming up next, we talk about how to use Pavu Control to solve all your needs in terms of Linux audio until Fedora 35.
And wouldn't you know it?
Nope.
It's the end.
It's the beginning.
If you don't know it,
and
you probably guessed that
to another.
You probably guessed that this might be winding down on accounts that we've already thrown chairs at a video game. So now it's your turn to let us know exactly what you think. There are many ways you can do that. The easiest one is by far finding one of us on the street and asking us questions. But
the most direct
quarantine and all that.
Somebody's just gonna run up to give you a hug and run off, giggling.
That'd be a bit weird, but okay,
so Jill,
fine.
that literally describes about like 60% of my interactions with Jill. So.
Hey man, listen, it can be deadly. We can weaponize it.
We could. She's very dense.
Hug me, Jill.
Jill Railgun.
But yeah, no, the best way to get in touch with us is to go to linuxgamecast.com, you hit the contact button, there's a contact form. If you saw or you liked what you saw in the chairs and you'd like us to have a look at your game, make sure you include 3 keys or something that we can share amongst all of us, because if we can't all play your game, we're not going to play it and we'll probably make fun of you.
No, we won't. Pedro will. Only Pedro.
I will.
Frank will too. You don't want to get Frank mad though.
Frank he's cut a motherfucker.
He's a mean drunk. And
that's why he doesn't get a microphone.
Coming up first, man, with this one, comes from Dave. Dave's like, yo, man, Steam, headphones, and mic issues. Hey, guys. First of all, I'm fairly new to your YouTube channel. Welcome. We have a YouTube channel, by the way. I keep forgetting that.
I suppose, yes.
Yeah. I love your insight to all things Linux, so he's clearly not watched too many episodes. I look forward to your new podcast each week. People watch, is it really a podcast when it's on YouTube? When we got like the podcast and the internet?
It is a video podcast, yes.
That's how the kids watch the podcast.
No one uses iPods anymore. The term podcast is completely defunct.
Are you done?
No, never.
Keep up the fantastic work. On the subject point, I wondered if you could discuss the state of play with headphone and mic issues with Linux and Steam games. I've never had that. I have friends play game on Windows and EA games seem to have persistent problems being able to speak to them using my new HyperX headset I received for Xmas. Steam recognizes my headset, not the mic. I can hear my friends chatting on their Windows Steam games, but cannot respond. That could be for the best. Could be for the best. Now, do you guys know if there are any solutions for Linux users? ? Apologies if you've covered this in a previous podcast. If so, can you advise which cast I need to rewatch many things? Dave.
So I had a thought about this because this was something that tripped me up in Pavu Control. But if you have like a USB sound card or something with multiple modes, like for like a headset mode and whatnot, sometimes you need to actually swap it out in PAVU Control in the device tab. I've noticed that sometimes. That might be.
That would be the best options, like Pavu Control, install that, and then go to your devices and make sure you only have the one input device, which the thing that will probably trip you up is because like your internal sound card will be seen as a duplex sound card that is both output and input. So make sure that all other ones are set to just output, and only your headset has both the duplex mode selected, so you get both in and out, and then Steam or the game will just see the one input device.
Also, like I was saying, double check your output and input devices tabs. If they have multiple ports, you may need to switch the port. Sometimes
this is true. I mean, Katana's right there with us. He left a thing in our show notes. Pavu Control is going to be your friend, and Pavu Control is the first thing you should install if you're experiencing any type of input-output issues under Linux. Yes. And start on that system tab, the one on the far right, and make sure it's set to duplex, not just input, not output. I don't think I've ever fucked with any audio settings inside of Steam.
Yeah, because usually it just uses the Pulse default microphone, which might be another thing. You may have your onboard microphone set as the default device, and so it may not be selecting it.
Basically, you're using...
Poke around in PAVU Control, because you will see a bunch of options. Dick around with them until you find the correct thing. That's kind of...
Yeah, if you're using GNOME, it tries to set its own defaults differently from what Pavu Control is actually looking at, which is just Pulse Audio. So keep an eye on that. You don't mention which desktop environment you're using, so I don't know.
I mean, even then, regardless of your desktop environment, you should be using PAVU Control.
Yes.
Yes. This is the true. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. If not, blame Peggy.
Good luck.
Yeah.
This was from... Yeah, this was talking about the rhythm game we were talking about last week, and they say, thanks for the shoutouts. If you guys ever want me to hop on and discuss developing on Linux or developing only using open source tools or whatever, hit me up. I'm a solo developer, but this game is my main source of income, and it's been quite an interesting road to make it what it is today. I think we might take you up on this, man. Like, it'd be a very, very interesting interview for sure.
No, I think that sounds like a plan. This is what we're talking about. I called it, DDR for weebs, but I was incredibly impressed by like the level editors and stuff. I mean, just how deep it could go. What is it? It's early access, $8.39 right now if you want to buy it. And it's got a Steam controller with big pictures. So yeah, we will we'll get in touch with you. How about that? There's your warning.
Yeah.
Because look, it's even got a Vulkan button. I want to ask you about that. So maybe that's something we'll be able to work out next week or later on this month, man.
This year.
Yeah. Ish. Yeah. But it is us, eventually.
Well, we do have another 363 days ahead of us. So.
Optimism.
Wasted days. Day 364 and a quarter. We'll be like, oh shit, we should call this guy.
Yes. All right, beautiful people. On that bombshell, let's cue the music. You can always find us going live here on Twitch around 8:30 Eastern time. Just hit our schedule. It'll tell you. It'll be like, hey, we're going live at this time. Put us all over your face, Justin Neck. It will be brilliant. If you're a patron, hop in Discord an hour earlier for our production meeting each and every week. That's also available in podcast form. All that fun stuff. Social media. At Finstone on Twitter, or just at Vin. At mast.linuxgamecast.com. I wonder if we can get like a NAST.
NAS.linuxgamecast.com and just store files on there.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm Jordan Swung. I've been infused with butter, so you can spread me on your toast.
Almond
Find me
butter.
in the fridge. Maybe, yeah. Find me in the fridge at The Burning Fool on Twitter or twitch.tv/burningfool.
And you can find me doing a cursory read of your tweets on @unaccounted4.
Yes, got it.
Curse reading.
Very
Curse you!
cursory.
You read in cursive.
Sometimes, yeah. It's getting really difficult nowadays to find anything that
Faja,
has
there's a
any
man
cursive.
outside reading in cursive.
It's getting difficult to read these days because I'm so drunk.
@unaccounted4 on Twitter.
Time for some credits.
Bye-bye. Seems legit.
True story.
Math checks out.
I have nothing to point at that.
I will neither confirm or deny this.
Yeah, we got to thank our Patreons, all of them giving us money. Haplo, Justin, Michael J, Angel M, Bob Brant, Scott,
And
Michelle,
Aldius,
Mr. Fox
which
Dog.
didn't tell me until after I made the credits.
Aldius, yes. Arthur and the Atomic Ass, Mike G. Got to thank our Little Nicky fans, Darkwing and Humpty, and our 350 donors, the Sea Monsters, Jack Bud, Dementor, Renaud Lepage, Ryder Ex Machina, Paul, and Veridanuda, yeah. Drudging!
All the beautiful party death notes, Smashley G, Chris, Captain Zero, Dak, Kim, Leonardo, Renee, Craig, Martin, more Martin, System T, Remo, Chad P, Basil, and Nova R. Bitch, I got them all.
Woo! And of course, just literally everyone who decided, you know what,
lazy
I'm just
cunt.
going to kick them
Read!
a few
Pedro,
extra.
You're the one who loves to talk. Read the names. Read the names.
Excuse you?
They're not in cursive.
Yeah, I can't read that. But yeah, no, seriously, thank you all very, very much for that.
PowerShell on Linux, and as always, a pyramid full of Nixons.
May or may not exist. We don't know. Check it out.
It did when I tried.
People. We'll see you next week.
It might disappear.
5 dudes.